one power, invisible, and just see it everywhere and every day. One power, indescribable, and just speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power.
Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Midtown, Atlanta, where you are welcome. Such is the nature of life that all it asks and all it wants is the opportunity to appear. And you are that opportunity, and so am I, and so it is. Whoever you are, whatever path brought you here today, please know that you are welcome and celebrated. We know who you are. You are an individual expression of the divine life in which we all live. Life's opportunity to be someone unique and wonderful. Whatever your ethnic background, religious affiliation, however you know yourself and describe yourself, your pronouns, your gender identities, we are glad you're joining us here today. You're welcome to be a part of this community in whatever way serves you. We are a strong, open, globally connected community centered on the clarity principle through teaching, service, and practice. We create a safe and respectful environment that supports healthy spiritual growth. And for a little bit more about us, the Declaration of Principles is written, this is an abbreviated version, by Ernest Holmes, is here now. Read.
I believe
in one God,
one absolute power and first cause to all things.
I believe that this power is perfect love
and creates out of a desire to express love.
I believe all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience.
I believe in the unity of all life
and the immortality of the individual soul,
forever unfolding.
I believe
in the eternal goodness,
the eternal goodness of God,
the eternal loving kindness,
and the eternal givingness of God to all.
And so it is.
And so it is.
And so it is.
So, with us today, we've got a practitioner, and a practitioner is someone who's demonstrated the ability to use spiritual practice and spiritual laws to bring about great changes in their lives. They've demonstrated they know how to bring about these changes in others when asked. Licensed by Centers for Spiritual Living, they are available to you to provide spiritual guidance and support in those areas where you're looking for assistance. Sometimes we can't fix ourselves necessarily, and help is there. So you may contact them through our website, cslmidtown.org. And today we've got one of our wonderful practitioners here to share good ideas and an affirmative prayer called a spiritual mind treatment. Welcome our practitioner for this morning, Judy Ailey.
All right. Thank you so much, Vance. As we know, the theme for this year, 2024, is Grand Rising. And today we conclude the month of July's theme of Practice Makes Imperfect. Today's theme is Perfectly Imperfect. And as it turns out, this theme speaks volumes to me in my present moment. With the advent of the COVID pandemic, I personally was very careful and cautious, and I was lucky enough not to have had COVID, at least until very recently. I think there was some inner part of me that was almost proud of myself that I had never gotten it. Well, that false pride is down the drain. This past week, I succumbed to the COVID virus. It took 2 negative home tests to finally get the third test, which was positive. So, yes, this month's theme has been all about self-acceptance and embracing life as it is and embracing the new. So it is a perfect match for what I have been currently experiencing. And aren't we so thankful for Zoom and virtual meetings so that you can hear me today and know that there is no danger of contracting the virus through the ethers? Thank goodness. Another message related to this month's theme is the need to cultivate self-care and self-love and self-kindness. And that as we do this, we give ourselves the strong message of personal safety, no matter what we may be facing in life. So today, I do embrace my imperfections as I accept all of myself. There is beauty in living this imperfect life, but the truth is that in the imperfection is perfection. That no matter what we are experiencing in the moment, no matter how it may appear, we are whole, perfect, and complete, even during times as this, for me anyway. Embracing our imperfection frees us from the self-message of, I'm not good enough. It is the message to accept where we are and know the perfection and wholeness in that present moment. It is about recognizing the inherent beauty and potential in our perceived imperfections, that even in these moments, there is wholeness and perfection. So I like to say imperfection is the new perfection. Let's begin to look at our lives through the lens of gratitude and appreciation, moving away from self-criticism. Let's offer ourselves kindness and understanding, self-nurturing, self-love, and self-acceptance. Get a little water here. I'd like to lead us now in a spiritual mind treatment, which will be followed by music for reflection. I believe it's going to be Daniel Nahmad's song, Everything New, Everything Wonderful, Everything New. As I offer these words of treatment in the first person, please accept this treatment for yourself. Let's just take a moment to breathe and to allow our minds and our hearts to be right here, fully present, right here, right now. Letting go of anything that we've been thinking about, worried about, anticipating, doing in the future, and instead know that this moment, this creative moment, is the seat of all power. So as I allow myself to sink into the moment and to be fully present here, I recognize and know that this presence of God, this universal life, this field of divine good and loving energy is all that there is. That this loving presence is everywhere. It is everything. It permeates the entire universe. It fills me. I am totally immersed in it. I am one with it. I'm never separated from it, no matter what the appearance of anything else may be. I know that this goodness, this divine intelligence expresses through me in greater and greater ways. It expresses through me as divine, vibrant health. It expresses through me as perfect timing and synchronicity. It expresses through me as new creative ideas. It expresses through me as opulent abundance, as vibrant health, as loving relationships in every way. This is the truth of who I am. And so no matter what may appear as imperfections in my life, certain struggles or situations that may be happening now, I accept those and embrace those and know the perfection of even those situations. Even in every situation, this divine presence, this divine love expresses, and that there is something to learn, something to grow from, something to embrace, something new to experience. I turn away from any idea that my life has to be about struggle or strain or poverty or loneliness or just lack of any kind. I really turn away from that completely and instead know that all is well, that all is unfolding perfectly in perfect timing and perfect ease. So this is my truth. I claim it right here and right now. I know that today's service is a blessing to all who listen, who are tuned in now or who will listen later. I know that CSL Midtown is an idea in the mind of God that is ever expanding in greater and greater good in the world. So I'm just grateful for being here right now, grateful for this moment, knowing that in truth, all is well. So I release this treatment now, knowing that it is so, and so it is.
Bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I'm through crying, I'm through waiting, I'm through hoping against all hope. I'm through longing for something gone that'll never return. Think I finally learned to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I'm through grieving, I'm through dreaming that the life I have is ever coming back. No more wishing on someone else's star that'll never be mine. I think it's time to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything
everything new.
All right. Always Daniel Namod, so inspiring. I'm really pleased this morning to be able to introduce our speaker, Reverend Dr. Alma Stevens. She began her affiliation with her spiritual journey way back in 1960. She became an ordained spiritual living center minister in 1982, and she remained as senior minister at the Inner Light Center for Spiritual Living until her retirement in 2017. She received her doctorate in Bible studies in 2007 from the Universal Life Church in Modesto, California. She's also an author. She's written a series of affirmative prayer books, and you might want to check those out also. I'm happy also to just add as a note that she is the spiritual teacher and mentor of fellow friend and practitioner Maya Fuller. And so that's how we were able to get in contact with her. So please join me in welcoming Reverend Dr. Alma Stevens.
Thank you, Judy, for that beautiful introduction. May I first say I give thanks for the privilege to share my heart's desire with you. I came to the table of CSL Midtown this morning to be fed. And with Judy's spiritual mind treatment and Daniel's song of Everything's New, I feel that I have been fed. My soul rejoices, and I am so privileged to be on this venue this morning. Thank you again. I thank myself for answering the call. In keeping with CSL theme for the month, practice makes perfect. Imperfect. I was challenged to take another view about the word perfect and imperfect and the effect it had on or in the human life. My question to you first is, if practice makes perfect imperfect, why do we practice? And I'll give you a few minutes to think about that question. Why do you practice if your practicing will bring you to imperfection? First off, we define practice as the customary habitual or expected procedure or way of doing something. And the word perfect is defined as having all of the essence or energy of the human being, which we have labeled as the 7 ups. And we will discuss the 7 ups later. You had time to answer your question, why do you practice? If you are going to come into imperfection. And the reason I practice, the reason I came to the planet, is to free myself of my fits, my feeling, images, and thoughts, which I created out of innocence. I came to free myself of my fits, my feeling, my images, and thoughts, which I created out of innocence. The Creator gave me the energy to create, to make a world. And I use the energy according to my perception at the time. I heard earlier this morning on this venue, I think it was Fan says, oh, it's all good. It's all good. The purpose any of us came to the planet is to express the God that we are through our feelings, our images, and our thoughts, which I have made an acronym for FITS. FITS, feeling, images, and thoughts. Dr. Holmes addressed our reason on the first page of the textbook, page 25, and I read, the divine plan is one of freedom. Bondage is not God ordained. Freedom is the birthright of every living soul, and all instinctively feel this. The truth points to freedom under law. Thus, the inherent nature of humans is forever seeking to express itself in terms of freedom. End of quote. Quote. That was the reason we came here, to be free. Then we practice being free every day with every activity. And early in my spiritual journey, I concluded whatever we do is simply something to do while we're doing something else. And that something else is to free ourselves from our self-made bondage. I ask, do you feel free to do, to feel, say, and think whatever comes into your world? It is your birthright to feel free to express. A group of people in the United States celebrated June 19 as their day of freedom. And on July 4th this month, another group of people in the United States celebrated that day as the day of freedom. So I ask you, how free do you feel to do, feel, say, and think? Whatever it is that comes to your mind. To be free, we are to become aware and select our words to bring in the highest vibration and frequency for creation. And I chose the 7 principles as guide to see perfection in all things. And I have been using these 7 principles as long as I can remember, and I am not sure where I got these principles from, but they have served me well. And they are love, joy, peace, wisdom, beauty, life, and power. And I concluded that these words, being the very pure essence of the human being, if practiced, will bring out the perfection, of the opposite of these words. I call them the 7 ups. And the opposites I call the 7 downs, or what we have labeled as imperfect. Practicing the 7 up brings out the perfection of the 7 downs. The practice of love brings out the opposite of love. The practice of joy brings out sadness. The practice of peace brings out war. The practice of wisdom brings out folly. The practice of beauty brings out ugly. The practice of life brings out death. And the practice of power brings out impotence, which all energy that we have labeled as imperfect or negative or unqualified. I use the word unqualified to describe the imperfection of the energy. By practicing these principles, we qualify the substance or energy of the human being, thus becoming co-creators with God, as our dear founder said that we are co-creators with God. Let's look at our definition of perfection, which is having all the required or desirable elements, qualities, or characteristics as good as it is possible. Nikola Tesla wrote, "If you want to find the secret of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." Obviously, Dr. Holmes knew the importance of this element as he referred to it 27 times in the textbook. I concluded, based on this premise, energy is perfect and is imperfect because we said so. Only energy is perfect and is imperfect because we said so. It is a matter of the frequency and vibration of the word that makes it perfect or unperfect. And Dr. Holmes wrote, "The highest word makes the highest mark in consciousness," confirming Tesla's hypotheses of frequency and vibration. As we know, this is science of mind, is a science, and which means it can be proven. We can prove our religion, and I think that's why what held me to this point. So we take that which is imperfect and make it perfect by practicing the 7 ups: love, joy, peace, wisdom, beauty, life, and power. We will share with you 3 concepts to consider in your practice for change. To see everything new, because everything is new, even though everything appears to be the same. Everything has moved in its vibration and frequency. The earth has moved in its frequency and vibration, and that's what makes everything new. So as metaphysicians, we say everything is good. And Dr. Holmes said, look for the good in everything, implying that it's not visible. You have to look for it. So we look for the perfection in the imperfection, as Judy shared in her treatment this morning, and in her sharing with us of her experience this past week. Another definition for practice is a repeated exercise and or performance of an activity or skill to acquire or maintain proficiency in it. There are days when I simply practice saying just one word, one of the 7 ups all day. I just say love, love, love. Every time a thought comes, it's love, love. And I stay on that word all day. It keeps me centered, keeps me in the present moment, which transmute the opposite of that quality that I am practicing. It brings up all of what I have labeled as hatred, and all of the frequencies of that word. Practice makes perfect imperfect. Think about that. And I'm grateful for the imperfection so that I can one day walk out, as Dr. Holmes said, and declare, let there be light. And there is light. Now let us look at our first concept. To make perfect, and to make imperfect perfect. And that is commitment. Our first concept is commitment. How committed are you to yourself? Only to yourself, to bring forth the perfection, total perfection of the human being. Commitment is a state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or activity. Many of us are afraid of commitment as we have not defined the word for ourselves. We have defined commitment by the way we feel in intimate relationships because of our desire to love and be loved by everyone. Commitment is simply to the self or the God within you. And you cannot be committed to anyone other than yourself, for you are the only one in your world. Commitment is simply to the self or the God within you, or what we call the perfection or the perfecting, if you will, of the human consciousness. Commitment requires that you depend upon you to do what you said you were going to do. How often do you say you're going to do something and become distracted? It doesn't happen quite as often with me now as it once have. When I used to become distracted, I would become harsh with myself because I didn't do what I said I was going to do. And then I remembered, regardless of what I'm doing, it is just something to do while I'm doing something else. And whatever else I'm doing is freeing myself, staying with the choice that I made to come here to be free. I made the choice to be free of my images, my feelings, and my thoughts, or my fits, through the tool that I have been given of imperfection. So I've made the choice to be free. And my point is to remember. That's the reason I came to the planet. And now it's simply time for me to recommit myself to practice. To practice more, so that I could raise the frequency and vibrations of the 7 ups, or love, joy, peace, wisdom, beauty, life, and power. If we could always remember that we simply came to the planet to be free. And so we ask ourselves, how would this free me? How will this thought free me, myself, from my images, my feelings, and my thoughts, from my self-made bondage? Keep asking questions. Ask questions so that you can free yourself. to practice the perfect, to bring the perfection out of the imperfect. Our second concept is decision. As an experience many years ago, I wanted to make a trip. And I would not, or at that time, I could not make the decision of how I was going to go. If I would take the plane or a train or a bus. So a young lady offered me a ticket, airplane ticket. And I didn't want to take it because I thought she gave it to me. And here was the universe stepping in to help me to make the decision. And I only, as I recall, I only had to pay $60 for the ticket. And I didn't think that I was worthy $60. I think it was mentioned this morning, Judy mentioned in her talk, leading to treatment. It appears that self-worth is one of our first, as human beings, one of our first imperfections to perfect. I was hedging on making a decision because I did not trust the God that I am. I was trusting myself. I was thinking about how much money I needed. I did not believe in my abilities and accomplishments. I was still harboring remnants of the 7 downs. But see, that was the opportunity for me to make a decision, and the opportunity will follow. And so one day I just simply made the decision. Everything fell into place. When I honor my word, through God, all things are possible. You see, I did not honor my word. I was believing and trusting in my human mind, the lower part of me. I did not trust who I am. After some time, I finally got the message, and often remember now, simply to make a decision. Say yes or no, and accept what is, and see the change, because everything is new. Simply make a decision. Say yes or no, accept what is, and see the change. Remember, we came here to free ourselves from our self-made bondage through our feelings, our images, and our thoughts, using the 7 ups to make that perfect, to make the imperfect perfect. You see, when we make a decision, the frequency and vibration is automatic and brings the energy of commitment, conclusion, resolve, settlement, choice, and determination, to list a few. When we make a decision, the frequency and vibration is automatic, and it brings the energy of commitment, determination, to list a few. When we don't make a conscious decision, the tendency of our thought takes over. I say again, When we don't make it a conscious decision, the tendency of our thought takes over. And that is, if we tend to think loving thoughts, that energy takes over. If we tend to think out of fear, that frequency and that vibration settles in for us to experience. Dr. Holmes said, what is the tendency of your thought? What do you tend to think about the most when you hear a car crash? Do you remember say, all is good, everything's good? And as your imagination continues, you hear the crash. Do you see them walking away? Everybody's smiling. Everybody's happy. Well, I had to practice doing that. I had practice seeing the good, for it wasn't obvious. I had to practice seeing the good in that automobile crash. As just something to do while they were doing something else. I repeat, when we don't make a conscious decision, the tendency of our thought takes over. That is, if we tend to think loving thoughts, that energy takes over. If we tend to think out of fear, that frequency and vibration settles in for us to experience. If you take nothing away from this message, but just that one sentence, to make conscious decision, either yes or no, to everything that we become seemingly hung up on, vacillating. Make a decision, and the opportunity will follow for its law. Our hesitation to make a decision comes out of the need to be right, not happy. So delete the need to be right. Many times my daughter and I are bantering, and she said, okay, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? And just teasing with her, I said, I want to be right. And don't we all want to be on the right side of the law? Experiencing the human being, experiencing that energy that we have practiced and practiced and practiced to become perfect, knowing that by practicing, we feel better. That is transmuting that energy of imperfection to perfection. Make a decision, and the opportunity will follow its law. Keep the need to be right. Right was going to mean according to law. Wrong was going to mean against the law. Our third and last concept is willingness. How willing are you to change your images, your feelings, and your thoughts to be right, to be on the side of the law, to be so convinced that Spirit is speaking through you, that whatever comes out of your mouth is for your highest good and for the highest good of all. Willingness, your willingness to give in, to surrender means to give in, to release is the first step of just letting go. How willing are you to continue the practice, to continue practicing until you reach that place that you know, that you know, that you know. And Dr. Holmes said, just keep practicing and you'll get there. Practice makes perfect, imperfect. Keep practicing so that the imperfection can come up to give you the opportunity to jump back into practicing the perfect or the 7 ups: love, joy, peace, wisdom, beauty, life, and power. As you go out into the marketplace this week, we ask if you just took one thing from this message, and that is to make a decision. The opportunity will follow, and you will find that your practice is making the imperfection, is bringing out the perfection in the imperfect. I thank you for listening, and may each one receive its individual message from the gods that they are. And so be it, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Reverend Dr. Alma.
My privilege. My privilege.
Thanks. So now it's time for our prosperity. That we bring you every week these amazing speakers. That was an amazing talk. And with that, we need your help to contribute to support the center, to continue to do that, and to work on our vision of what is to come for the Center for Spiritual Living Midtown. So on your screen, you can donate at cslmidtown.org/donate, or scan the QR code there on the screen that will take you to that same site. You can do a one-time contribution or do an ongoing giving contribution. We appreciate it all. So if you will, say with me our affirmation of prosperity. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. So I've got a couple of announcements to go along with this week's. August is next week. It's crazy. The theme for the month is Unstatus Quo, and we're going to be live in person at the Garden Hills Community Center. So if you're in Atlanta and want to join us, we're going to have a potluck. So come see us for that. Reverend Dr. John Carnes is going to be our speaker. So that should be an awesome talk by him. And thanks, Judy Ailey, for being our practitioner today. All right. Some other things we've got coming up. We're working on our what will be the ministerial selection. We're going forward with this. There's a co-creation process we've been talking about for a while. We're still in the middle of that. We've got to get that scheduled. There's people that we've got to coordinate schedules with to get that all going on, but we are in the process of that. So this is an update to say we haven't forgotten about it. We love the different speakers we get every single week, but we need a visioning for where the future is for CSL Midtown, and that's coming. It's a work in progress, and it just takes time. So we are working toward that, but we have, in the meantime, amazing speakers to bring this message of religious science out into the world. So now, if you would say with me our affirmation of life, and then after that, we have a special song by Karen Drucker. So now, I leave this place now, knowing something better than I knew before. I go forth into the world with a heart full of love and a mind full of good sense. I look at the world in a greater way, knowing that I have within me everything I need to create the life I desire. I give thanks for this understanding, and I am grateful for the spirit of life that lives through me. And so it is.